What's up guys, Kevin here to bring you a brand new video where today I'm going to be showing you something that I have been working on for quite some time, and that was something that took a lot of dedication and hours of work. It just took a really long time and was something I was obsessed with getting exactly right, and I did. And that thing is creating the N64 logo. As you can see, it's got all the different colors: red, blue, green, yellow. So yeah, it's the logo. You can even compare it to that right there. So like, there you go. Kind of matches. So yeah, my friend gave this to me as a Christmas gift, and it was just a plain N. And I said, "What the hell are you doing? You're giving me a plain N." And then he was like, "Oh, it's the N64 logo." I'm like, "Dude, it's just an N." And then I thought about it, and I was like, "Well, if I could paint this, then it could actually look like the logo." And lo and behold, I did. I don't know if that was their intention to get me to paint it, but I did it. And yeah, I'm glad I did. But yeah, this was something that was not easy to do. A few reasons. First of all, I had to get paint. So, I bought some paint, some crafting paint, acrylic paint, not like paint in a can, because that would just not work and be like a waste. So I bought like tiny like acrylic paint bottles to help make this, and also some brushes as well, fairly small ones. And I started going at it, and I thought that like I wouldn't need to do like more than one like coating of paint, but I quickly realized that wasn't the case for a number of reasons. The first reason being that the first coat on every side had like splotches of like white for whatever reason, or it was just not as dark as other parts of it. It was like very inconsistent. So I went over it like a second time in order to really like give it that like solid color that you see there. And I also had to go over other colors multiple times because of the fact that I would keep doing one side and then something else would get affected, and then I would have to do that side over again, and then something else would be done, and then something else would get affected because paint got on another color that wasn't supposed to get there. So it was just like a vicious cycle for a while of me fixing stuff caused by other things. The name thing that was the hardest, that was a great example of this, was the red. So as you can see there, there's like a little bit of, there's like a red and then it goes into blue. So I had to be super, super careful when it came to making sure that the red didn't like cross over into the blue, or that the blue didn't cross over into the red. So I had to like use like the utmost care to like just barely get the brush in there so that it like gets that side correctly, and not like go too far down, so that it wouldn't like affect the other side the wrong way. That was definitely the hardest part of this, and definitely the most painful. Also, the red in different colors, you had to be careful with how much paint you grabbed, because if you took like a decent like glob of paint, even on like a small brush, for something this tiny, the paint doesn't like have anywhere to really go, and you have to like do something to like remove it by like cleaning off the brush and then taking off the paint, which is kind of a pain. So you have to be careful with how much paint you grab. specifically with the red. Even when like you use the smallest brush, if you dip it in the paint, you're probably gonna have too much paint. So you want to like try to like remove some, is what I try to do. Another problem I was also running into was how the paint would like go onto other parts of it, even when it wasn't like, that little crevice. Sometimes I would just like paint like one's part and then it would like go onto the other part. Um, so a good example of this that you can't really see anymore is this blue side. You see how there's like a like faint hint of a different color on the left side there? So that's yellow right there that got on it. And I tried to cover it up as much as I could, but as you can see, you can still tell that like something happened there that caused that. But I mean, that's like from like a distance, like at first glance you wouldn't even notice that, but like now that I pointed it out, you can notice it. um, but yeah, little things like that, that caused me to have to like keep putting on coats. So I kept doing that. um, an issue I was having was like I would put on like part of a coat and then like the rest of it kept looking weird. But I think that was just because the paint was like still wet. Like once it actually dried, it kind of just like all looks the same actually, I think. At least after a while. After a while, like once you've like already put a lot of paint on it, at some point it doesn't really like matter like how many coats you're doing on different parts of the side. It kind of just all blends together after a while. There is also like just quite a lot of like details behind like how to do painting, as far as like using water to like rinse off paint, and just keep using the same brush as long as you dip it in water. Even if like there's color in the water, if you just dip it in water and get the paint off, you can just keep using different colors, which is something good to know. So like you don't have to worry about like never being able to use that brush unless you like clean the entire water dish or whatever that you're using for water. So water doesn't really cause the paint to stick to the brush, which is kind of good to know. And you also have to be careful with bristles. Sometimes there was a couple times when bristles actually got on this and stuck to it. There could still be some stuck to it right now, but it's something to be careful with for sure. And whenever you do paint, don't take the brush straight out of the water and dip it right into the paint, because the paint is going to be too watery. So it's important to kind of dry it off a little bit. But also, like, my best feeling of how I got to do it was not using it when it was completely dry, but not using it when it was completely wet. So I would always dip it in the water and then dry it off a tiny bit and then put it in the paint. That's what I found worked best. But there's definitely some techniques that I felt like I learned from it. Who knows if I would ever do this in the future, but it was a cool learning experience either way. But anyways, this was something that I was really happy to do. I've never really done like painting ever in my life, and this was like a cool little project to get to do, because it's one of my favorite consoles that I grew up on, was a big part of my childhood, and I still play it to this day. I play on Twitch. I've been streaming Donkey Kong 64. Drop a follow at Sparked Ambition. And yeah, it's been a big part of my life, and it still is. It's the console that I still like go back to the most out of any of them, probably. I would say. So yeah, and with that being said, something like this, I really wanted to like put my all into it. Like I didn't want to just like paint each side and just be done with it and whatever, but like I wanted to make sure it was like perfect, like the best that it could possibly be, because this just like is something that symbolizes something that means a lot to me, the N64. So yeah, Nintendo 64 is a great console. And yeah, so now I'm gonna put it on display right there. So there it is. I'm gonna keep it right there. I might move it, but we'll see. My desk is pretty like full of stuff, so I'd kind of rather just keep it there. Where like, yeah, where I feel like it's best there. Anyways, hope you guys have enjoyed the video. Make sure to leave a like if you have, and I'll see you guys in the next video.